I think one of the inspiration we had is from old past gaming experiences, from like guided missile that you would end up in the first-person view of this device and they would move forward constantly and accelerate, and you had to adapt your trajectory to find your targets. And we wanted to introduce something like that in the game. Those devices in those older games are usually like guided missile that would one-shot everyone. And recreating the oomph aspect of those devices in Siege was obviously a challenge. And eventually we retained this very large explosion. We kept it in the device, it's just that to make sure that it would not be too lethal, we added this delay. So as soon as you end your trajectory, you anchor, and you have this 3 seconds timer that starts ticking down. So achieving your goals with Flores is very satisfying, just as we envisioned it in the first place. And also, it's, I feel, quite fair in the context of Siege, as most defenders, as soon as they learn how to play around, have the tools at their disposal to react. The first, I guess, role is gadget removal, like deployable shield, the Lucy, the Maestro's turret, barbed wire. Second role is to make anchors move out of position. Like there's a lot of very strong defender position in the game. It will be able to accurately place this device under the feet of a defender, and at that point the defender has to move. He's good at clearing the way for others, but others may need to clear the way for his device. I think specifically of electrified barbed wire, and you might need someone else to deal with the battery so that you can access the site. Or you're gonna have to use one of your own devices to get rid of the entire barbed wire. The other operator is going to work quite well with are the breachers. Using the Ratero in combination with a breacher is going to be great, specifically against bandits. And once it detonates, it's going to remove the battery, if there is any. And it's going to also, because the explosion is fairly huge, force bandits out of that position, which means that by the time he comes back to the wall to trick, the wall might already be open. However, contrary to Thatcher, he has to get his device in the objective zone, which means that if Bandit himself or another defender is watching, they can destroy it before you get into location. So the two main counters, like mechanical one-to-one counters, I would say are Mute and Mudzy. Mute is going to just stop the device where it is, with the caveat that if you do destroy the Mute, then the Ratero is going to detonate eventually. The radius of the Mute jammer is bigger than the radius of the explosion. So if you drive straight to a mute jammer, you're going to be muted before you can anchor and detonate. And if you anchor before that, the explosion radius is going to be too short to actually deal with the mute jammer. And the other one is Mudzy. So Mudzy is simply going to jump on it and overload the device and destroy it. So both Mudzy and the Ratero are going to be destroyed in this instance. So no explosion. Mudzy won't take control of the Ratero because it's a timed device. It's not like a permanent device. It's a very loud, very big, very obvious device. And as a defender, it's going to be easy to shoot it. The main counter, if you are a Maestro or Bandit, is to have a friend of yours watching for the drone holes and shooting the device before it gets to you.
Drone incoming, careful.
Flores comes equipped, as far as loadout goes, with the AR-33, which is from Thatcher, and the SR-25, which is the DMR of Blackbeard. We obviously do not have a shield on that DMR, but for the sidearm, he has just the GSH-18, so the sidearm of Fuse, for example. And for the secondary gadgets, one of the first options we wanted to give him was a Claymore, because when you use the Ratero device, you are obviously very vulnerable. And having a Claymore to cover at least one avenue of flanking on your location felt like it was a very natural fit for Flores. And as a secondary option, if you want to dive more into the chaos potential of the operator, we bring flashbangs. Combining your own Ratero and flashing to enter, this can create a lot of movements.
We wanted sort of a character that was a little bit of a wild card, something you don't really expect to see in Rainbow. And we thought that Master Thief was a very good profile for that. Flores was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was raised by his mom alone. It was kind of a rough childhood because his mom's health kind of slowly declined as he aged. So as a teen, he kind of got involved in organized crime. But he realized that he hated that because he saw what it did to his community, and his mom had taught him like empathy above all. He decided to go to a military college instead to see if like that kind of path, which was like more righteous, would be better for him. And he ultimately got a military engineering degree. He also learned that authority does not work with him. And he said, well, I hate what organized crime is doing to my home, so I'm going to be a thorn in their side, basically. And so he became a burglar. He started hitting big targets, crime lords, all that, to basically redistribute their money to the community that was suffering. And that's how he became known as the man from Flores, which is where his name came from. That's how he found his passion for tinkering and making his own tools, because you always need a key to open a door, and the doors are not always the same. He wasn't caught or anything. They never knew who he was until they followed the money and realized that it was being given back to the community and everything. But the one thing that stood out to them was his mother's hospital bills. They actually killed his mother, and they were going to kill him as well. But Ash found him. So she was in Buenos Aires investigating smuggling rings, basically. And she just happened upon him, and he had the information she needed. So she offered him asylum in the USA, and he was very happy to take that because he had nowhere to be anymore. So he went to Los Angeles and started a new life. Most people don't have the morals that he has. Most people that have the morals that he has don't have the skill set of a thief. So he's always felt very like, no one is like me, no one cares in the same way that I do. Yeah, going to Rainbow, he's finding some kindred spirits, and it's basically a new chapter that he didn't know was possible.